My first ever post on social was in 2009, and it was literally just 2 words, "Feeling happy." Oh, I'm so embarrassed for myself.
That's a really good one. That's really, really
Oh,
insightful.
no, it's not. I gotta be honest, though, I remember my psyche at the time, and I was sort of late for my demographic to join. Most of my contemporaries were on Facebook right away in 2007 and 2008, and I resisted, and then I gave in. Anyway, it was around the time that I was going through a pretty significant breakup. Well, it was post-breakup. My intention behind it was a subtle dig at my ex, like, "Take that, buddy. Life is so much better now without you."
Of course. I mean, wasn't that and maybe continues to be, like, the entire purpose of posting on social media? It's like a little bit of a brag book. It's a
Yep.
little bit of a highlights reel, and you always have someone in your mind. I mean, maybe I'm just speaking from personal experience that you want to see the things that you're posting.
Yeah, and back then, it was just status updates where there
Oh,
weren't photos. It would say, like, "So and so is," and then you fill
yes.
in the blank, and so they'd be like, "Tired,
Oh,
annoyed," and then people would comment and be like, "Oh, no, buddy,
right.
what's going on?"
Yeah, yeah. Oh, it was so simple back then. You
It
just
really was.
pick from a drop-down list of how you're feeling and no photos. Oh,
Yep.
man. Well, we are gonna dig into this in this episode. This is a fun one and a juicy one. So we're gonna be talking about our relationship with social media, the good, the bad, and what it's costing us, both literally and figuratively. But before we jump in, please remember Midlife Confidential is powered by you and your anonymous sharing. So that is what brings the hard info into the light. So please continue to stay engaged. And if you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. We are on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, and follow us on Instagram. And that is unless you quit social after this episode. But all of these things really help us get the word out and allow us to keep bringing these really important findings to you.
The irony.
I know.
Okay, let's get into it. So, we asked our listeners about their relationship with social media, specifically how much time they spend on it, whether they are passive or active. I see you lurkers because we're one of you, and how they feel after spending time on social media. This one is the key. And the results were equal parts expected and a little bit surprising, I'd say.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree with that. And validating, which is I think a really nice result of this podcast is that we're going to share things that people are sharing. And oftentimes it's a very, oh, yeah, me too kind of feeling.
Mhm,
And I felt
mhm,
that from the data this week.
mhm.
All right. So let's get into the data. So let's start with time spent. So we asked, how often are you on social media each day? The most frequent responses were between 30 minutes and 1 hour. So that was about 60%. The next, at about 25% of you said you spend between 2 and 3 hours a day. And then the remaining were on either ends of the spectrum.
Question.
Yeah.
Do you think the 30 minutes to 1 hour, I wonder if when people were taking that survey, they were thinking about those, like, intentional at times when you're just sort of, like, scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. I don't know about you, but there are lots of micro moments throughout my day where I'm waiting for water to boil, and I might go on and refresh to see if there's been, I don't know, anything I've missed in the last 45 seconds, and that shit adds up.
Totally. No, I think you're getting to something, and I actually I wanna remind folks this was self-reported data. I think what would be really interesting is for people to actually open up their phones, and in a lot of these platforms, you can see how much time you're spending. I wonder if the number would be very different because I agree, those micro moments that I do myself really add up. And so it's what we think we're spending versus what we're actually spending. Okay, reason. So why are you on social media? This was not surprising. The top reason at 75%. So three quarters of you said it's for boredom or habit. So, Julie, you just brought up a great point. Those micro moments, water's boiling. We're not good at just sitting around doing nothing these days. Like, we need to fill our time. And so it's opening up that app. It's a habit. It's almost like muscle memory. Your fingers just scroll into the app. So 75%, that's why they do it. And then entertainment at close to 70%. Um, yeah, how do you feel? Those are true for me. Are they true for you?
I would say yes, for sure, and it's got me thinking back to 2007 when Facebook started, and I keep saying Facebook because that's really where all of this unless you count Friendster and MySpace, which is really going back.
Friendster. I was on Friendster too. Oh man.
Of course you were, but the real original intent was to rate women, but let's not go there, Mark Zuckerberg. But it was about connection and connecting with friends and family, and it's not being used for that anymore, and it's certainly not what's being served up to me ever.
Totally. And actually, this came out in the comments that the ratio of following friends and people in your life and your community versus following influencers and famous people has shifted. And I can say for me, if I broke down the people that I follow, it's mostly people I do not know. So there's no sense of community there, at least for me. And actually, that I think is a nice segue into whether people are active or passive. Majority, I would say 90% of our respondents say they are passive users of these platforms, meaning they scroll, they look, but they're not responding and commenting and liking, which I think is different if it were people in your community versus, people you don't know.
Yes. Yep. Yeah, the word utility comes to mind, especially doing research for this episode as I spend time on social media, which I'm really trying to spend less of these days. Um, like, what utility is this bringing for me?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. There different utilities for different social media platforms, but, yeah, it's an interesting way to think about it, like, what are we looking to get out of these experiences?
Right. I mean, you bring up a good point. Obviously, learning is a big one, right?
Mhm, mhm.
But
Yeah.
is that really I mean, I guess it depends on how you define learning. Like, I learned about a new peptide product that's gonna fix
Right,
my face, then it's a
right.
good thing I'm on TikTok and it has utility. But if if we're not taking anything away from it, then I guess you can't call it learning. Okay, anyway,
Right,
onward.
and well, no, I also think learning is an interesting word you're using there because some of this, it's being pushed to us. So are
Yeah.
we learning or are we just being subjected to things that we actually don't care about and don't need? But the repetition of seeing it over and over again, we start to think we need, and then we want to learn what is the best peptide or what is the best, right now I'm getting all these built in bra tank tops. Do I need this? No. Do I need to
Mhm.
learn about the best out there or the cheapest out there? No. But that's where I'm at.
You could also flip it around. I think it's also teaching us to think that we're learning about ourselves. So, I'm learning that I need this particular built-in tank top, bra, shirt.
Mhm.
I'm learning that I'm old and the
Mhm.
only way to turn back time is to buy this product. I don't know. I don't like it.
I don't either. It feels really icky. It's fun in the moment. It seems harmless, and then when we start to unpack it, it's quite disturbing. Okay, so let's talk about what we're getting served. So, this is a midlife podcast, and I think what people are getting served right now is so midlife. So, lots of things that were related to people's niche interests. So, we will skip those, but some really clear themes. The first is the kind of fix my changing body bundle. So that's things like weight management, hormone balancing. That's half my feed. Next is like anti aging maintenance type stuff. So the products for smoothing and plucking and really painting over the signs of aging. So skincare serums, makeup, and just general retail targeted at middle aged women. Insert tank tops with built in bras. Um, And then there's also a whole category on the home. So when we aren't being told or when we don't think we need to fix our faces, we're fixing our spaces. Like what I did there. So, home organization tips, storage products, general home improvement. I've had my eye on this refrigerator lazy Susan. I will probably buy it by the end of this week because I've been served up this thing. Do you get that? You're do you get the refrigerator lazy Susan? It's all over my
I don't, Jenny, but I'm not surprised that you do. I'm still in the first category of changing body and hormones.
Okay, and then the last one is fitness and health, but there is a lot of kind of health anxiety or clickbait, so, like, kind of that scary stuff that's like, "Oh my god, this could happen to me. I need to listen to it, watch it, buy it." So a lot of people said that they get a lot of those scary type headlines related to health. So, those are the themes.
This is all so gross.
It is.
I mean, think about it. It's like the overconsumption society that we live in, and I am not implying that I'm not a part of it, but every single thing that we're being served up is something that we need to change.
Mhm.
It's like, "You need this. Shop
Yep.
now. Get this. It's frictionless." And it's just this overarching theme of you're not enough.
It's gross, and these systems are set up as we're addicted.
That's a good segue to how it's making us feel. Obviously, our
Gross.
listeners our listeners just got a little bit of a taste of how it's making me feel, gross, but how is it making our listeners feel? And no surprise, many responded with some form of blah and wasteful. And the overarching commentary around this was energy and time depletion. So instead of feeling recharged, they're feeling like the platforms are actually sucking the life right out of the day. There was no, I feel more informed. I feel smarter. I feel more fashionable, right? It was the opposite, which again is not surprising.
Yeah.
Inadequacy inadequacy and defeat was another one. So, the curation of it all really triggers that intense comparison game. I would go as far as to say it's making our listeners feel like they are losing at life. Do you think that's
Mhm.
extreme, Jenny?
No, well, not losing at life, but, like, so close that if I just buy this one thing, it'll fix it, you know?
Yeah. There was a article I read about this conveyor belt metaphor, how you can be laying in your bed at night doom scrolling, see the thing that you think is gonna be life-changing, could be that perfect white tea, could be a new serum, and it's so frictionless. It's like a conveyor belt to your bedroom where you can click one button and within, the next 3 to 5 hours, that thing that you thought you needed so badly is on your doorstep.
Yes, yes, and it's a dopamine hit. I mean, there is a thrill in that. It is exciting when you can have the thing and you can have it almost immediately without leaving your bed. I think these small dopamine hits are what keeps us going back. What these social media companies are doing under the hood to get us to continue
Yeah.
to come back, it's jarring. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, Jenny, being the data nerd that you are, how does how do our listeners in the data that we got from this midlife confidential community compare to like the larger research that we looked at?
I mean, we are right on track. Well, let's talk about money too. So, the social commerce market, so what you were talking about, Julie, earlier with, the frictionless spending, has exploded at $1.09 trillion. Again, the maturity is a result of this frictionless in-app shopping features. Our influencers are not just talking about their lives anymore, they're selling products, and it is so easy to shop and to buy things and to feel as though you need things. I buy so much stupid shit now that I never did. So if there's a dislike button, I'm putting my dislike on that.
Can you think about anything over the past 12 months that was a have to have by now product that you are so glad you did or that it has been life changing in some way for you?
Ugh, that's a great question. The fact that I am really having to think very hard about this is my answer. No. Ugh, no. And if there is, it's so small that I can't think of it right now. What about you?
It's not those scissors with a cutting board attached to them that you were trying to push on me hard last winter?
Oh, I do really like those scissors, but you know what? If I didn't have them, I think my life, my happiness, my time would be the same. They're fun.
Mm,
So these,
mhm.
some things that I will say, some things that I buy like are cool and I've enjoyed them, but like would I have been just as fine without them? Absolutely. So is it worth it? Probably not. Do you have a magic thing that was served up to you that you can't live without now?
No. As a matter of fact, there's nothing that I've ever purchased as a result of an ad or otherwise on social media that I'm still using, I would say.
It shocks me because when these influencers are talking about it, they're using words like life changing and like I know this, we're talking about this right now, and yet I will still be convinced. Like, well, maybe I just haven't bought the right product. Like maybe it just wasn't a match for me.
I think what's really different for me now, I've started really paying attention to ads, traditional ads, as us midlifers know them, do not look like ads. It's storytelling, right? It truly feels like a conversation,
Yeah,
not a sales pitch. And
totally.
you just have to remember that's all it is. Everything is a business.
Yeah.
Everything.
It's just making me think of the importance of going back to your human, in person, real life, I should say, friends. And like, I think I would be better off asking you, Julie, or asking my other friends about products that they use in real life because they're not making any money here. And I'm just, in real time thinking now, I want to go back to crowdsourcing that way because it's much more effective. And
Yeah. I know behind every single one of those stories is something that somebody is trying to sell me.
totally.
So, Jenny, speaking of the internet knowing us so well and the things that I'm getting served up, I always wonder how the algorithms actually work and track us.
So let me share what I've learned, but also a caveat here that it's it's locked down. I think that's one big takeaway is that like these are powerful systems from powerful companies. And so there's a lot of stuff they don't want us to know about how they're getting us to buy all the things. So I'll share what I've uncovered, but just know that there's a lot more that we are just not privy to. What they're doing is they are tracking, what you click, and then they're putting you in these cohorts that are dynamic. So they can shift every second, every time you're on these social media sites. They're putting you in these groups that share things like highly specific, sometimes even subconscious micro behaviors. So they're able, and AI is helping this tremendously to really start to put you into these categories so that they know what to serve up to you.
Okay, hold on. My brain doesn't compute that. When you say subconscious digital micro behaviors, what does that mean?
Okay, so if Julie, I ask you what you are into, you might share a list of things that you feel are part of who you are and your likes and your dislikes.
Yeah.
But what is actually happening on the internet and things that you're actually clicking on might be a little bit different. There was a a really interesting research study done years ago around Netflix where they asked people, what shows do you like? And people responded with the types of shows that they like. And then they went and looked at their Netflix profiles,
Mm.
and the shows that they said they like were very different from the shows that they were actually watching, or the trailers that were watching, or the shows that they were pausing on to
Hmm.
like get more information on. And so I think there's this idea that we have around who we are, and then there's actually these micro behaviors that are maybe a better indication of who we are and what we like. Does that make sense?
It does, and it's interesting because there's who I am and what I stand for and what I'm all about, but that's different than what I'm seeking to know about. You know what I mean?
Well, and I think also the social media sites and these big companies are helping direct us to who we are. Like, I would never classify myself as someone who cares about skincare, but if I see skincare over and over and over again, I'm going to start to care about skincare. So, is that what I like? Or is it like this weird cycle
Mm,
of like,
mhm,
you
mhm.
start and they grab you and then they turn you into that person who cares about this thing that otherwise maybe you wouldn't have cared about so much?
True, and I know that these companies are not just tracking likes, shares, and commentary, like, maybe in 2011, yes. But now they can actually tell how much time we spend looking at a
Yes.
video or looking at just a static image, right?
Yes. Okay. So this is where it gets a little disturbing. They can track how many milliseconds that you pause on a specific video. So even if you don't like it or comment on it, they can track that. And they can actually predict an identity shift, such as entering menopause or perimenopause or considering a career pivot or maybe experiencing relationship stress. And they can do this often before you have consciously articulated it to yourself or to your partner. So they know a lot about us. And this is the part that I really found most disturbing is that they are optimized, these algorithms, to detect patterns of vulnerability. So, for example, they are mapping out your daily rhythms based on your typing speed, your scroll velocity, and the hours that you open up the app. So, if you have this habit of late night doom scrolling when your defenses are low, you're laying in bed, the system learns to serve up high emotion, high urgency content like beauty procedures or lifestyle comparison clips during those precise windows, which is inevitably exploiting your cognitive fatigue, your vulnerability, and that leads to maximum engagement. So, how fucked up is that?
Oh my god. I mean, you almost lost me at scroll velocity. Th
How fast are you scrolling? It
Oh my
matters.
god. It's wild. And I guess okay, so let me ask you this. Do you care how much these companies know about you? And if so, why?
I used to say no because sure, serve me up the things that I like versus me having to cut through the noise of all the shit that I don't care about. But now that I've learned a little bit more, I do care because I think they're not just learning about me. I think they're shaping me. I think they are guiding me to become a person that I don't think I am. So I don't know. It just feels more controlling than just knowing. Not
I have a, like, if you can't beat 'em, join 'em mentality.
Yeah. So tell me, Julia, about your relationship with social media.
I would say it's mostly passive. I rarely post anything. I'm on it more now because of this podcast, because we have our Instagram at The Real Midlife Confidential. See what I did there? Um,
Perfect.
I go there out of boredom, if I'm being honest. I go down rabbit holes sometimes where I will buy things, or I will see a photo of somebody that I sat next to in 8th grade that, to be honest, I probably would put my head down and walk quickly by if I saw said person in the grocery store.
God.
My friend is the first indicator that something is not working.
Yeah.
Um, but then I'll go down a rabbit hole and be like, "Oh, his sister-in-law is her and she knows that person. Oh my god, and that person's daughter is graduating from high school." Like, it just and then before I know it, 25 minutes have gone by.
Okay, so because I was about to say, like, to me, like, there's nothing wrong with that part. I think, it's fun to learn about people that were once in your life and you might find connections and maybe reconnections. But what you said, the time piece, like, how much time are we spending doing that, I think is where it can become not so good.
Yeah. I mean, it's also just pure voyeurism.
Totally. Totally, and but, we're human. I think that's a thing that we all, for better or worse, do. Um,
I'm like the modern day equivalent of Pearl on 227. Do you remember that show?
I don't even know what that is.
Oh, okay. I think our listeners will remember Pearl from 2 it was a show in the '80s, and she used to sit on her stoop and just be nosy and take in all the goings-ons of the neighborhood and gossip about it.
You're the modern day Pearl. Okay. Oh, I have to check that out.
I guess let's ask each other after spending an hour on social media, give me 3 words on how you feel. I'll go first. I'll make this easy because I just put you on the spot. Okay. I would say after I am scrolling on social media, I feel fat, old, and boring.
When you were none of those things.
I know.
Ugh,
That's the
it's
thing, like,
yeah,
cognitively, I know that,
sure.
but this is what I'm being told I am.
I think I have very similar responses. I feel not enough, like, I'm just like or, like, I could be better, so, like, inadequate? I don't know what the word is there, and that's both, like, my body, my home, my career, my life, like, everything. It's like I'm just I could do more. I could be better.
It's not that it's not that I'm getting served up things that then make me feel that way because I'm searching for things to lose weight,
Mhm.
be younger, and be more exciting. I'm not those things, and I'm not looking for solutions to those things. However, I am at a certain age, right? I am active in a certain way online, so yeah, like, the internet knows me better than I do and knows what I don't want today, but what I am heading towards wanting, and they're getting me before I even know that I need it.
Yes. Yes, and again, it's tapping into potential vulnerabilities and serving you up things that maybe you don't actually feel, but if you get served up enough, you will start to feel it, and because you feel it, you will buy it. You will seek out solutions to problems that you probably didn't even think you had. So,
Frankly, there's no money in celebrating who we are.
no, there is not. There is not. So, whew, all right. Well, on that note, we have more to talk about, and we wanna get your thoughts, so comment, share, like, we want to hear your feedback and kind of your aha moments from these episodes and things that you're discussing with your friends, so please share with us.
All right. Well, listeners, keep an eye out for our next poll. And remember to follow us and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. You can also find us on social at The Real Midlife Confidential, where we sometimes post funny outtakes.
Yes, and until then, keep your secrets safe unless you're telling us.